A young man was offered a choice: an easy life today or the chance at a great life tomorrow. His decision reveals the one powerful truth about achieving your dreams. Nothing is free. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more inspirational stories that will help you master English. There was a young man named Leo. He was 20 years old and lived in a small, quiet town, a place surrounded by beautiful, tall mountains. Leo had big dreams. He didn't just want a job. He wanted to own a chain of restaurants and become a successful entrepreneur. But for now, life was not so easy for him. Leo's family was struggling with money. His father, Mark, was a mechanic who worked long hours, his hands always stained with grease. His mother, Claire, cleaned houses in the town to help the family make ends meet. Leo also had a younger sister, Sophie. She was just 10 years old, and she looked up to her big brother as her hero. One cold evening, Leo sat on the small steps outside his family's house, looking up at the endless stars in the dark sky. He whispered quietly to himself, a little cloud of his breath appearing in the chilly air. "I want to give my family a better life," he said softly. "But how do I even start? How can I begin when we barely have enough to survive each week?" The next day, feeling a mix of hope and worry, Leo shared his dreams with his father. Mark listened patiently, wiping his hands on a cloth. He sighed a little, a tired but kind sound. "Leo," he said, "dreams are not free. They have a cost. If you truly want something in this life, you have to fight for it. You must start with what you have right now, even if it feels very small." Leo thought deeply about his father's words. Dreams are not free. Start with what you have. The words echoed in his mind. Then an idea began to form. He noticed something about his town. People here loved fresh bread, but the nearest good bakery was far away. They had to travel for a long time just to get a warm loaf. He decided he would start by selling fresh bread right here locally. But there was a big problem. Leo had no money to buy the bread from the bakery. He couldn't even afford the first batch. He decided he had to take a chance. He would go and speak to the bakery's owner, a man named Mr. Anderson. Leo walked for miles to get to the bakery. When he arrived, he met Mr. Anderson, who was known for being a grumpy old man who rarely trusted anyone. With a determined heart, Leo stood tall and spoke clearly. "Mr. Anderson," he said, "I want to sell your bread in my town, but I don't have the money to buy it from you first. Can you trust me for just 1 week? I will sell all the bread, return your money, and keep only a small profit for myself." Mr. Anderson looked at this young man, raising a skeptical eyebrow. "And why should I trust you, young man?" he asked, his voice rough. Leo did not look away. He replied firmly, "Because I am determined, and I will work harder than anyone to prove myself to you." There was a long, quiet pause. Mr. Anderson studied Leo's face, seeing the honesty and fire in his eyes. Finally, he said, "All right, I will give you bread for 1 week. But if you fail to pay me back, don't ever bother coming here again." Leo was thrilled. His heart beat fast with excitement and a little bit of fear. Early the next morning, when the sky was still a soft gray, he carried the warm, fresh bread all the way back to his town. He set up a small stand near the park, a simple wooden table. He greeted every person who walked by with a warm energy and a big smile. "Fresh bread," he called out, "warm and delicious." At first, people were a little hesitant. They didn't know Leo, and they weren't sure if the bread was any good. But Leo was smart. He offered small free samples. A taste was all it took. Soon, he had his very first customer. By the end of that busy day, he had sold every single loaf of bread and made a small profit. That evening, tired but happy, he returned to Mr. Anderson's bakery and paid him back every cent. The old man simply nodded, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. "You kept your word," he said. "Come back tomorrow." From that day on, Leo worked tirelessly. His life found a new rhythm. He woke up every day at 4:00 a.m., walked the long distance to the bakery, carried the heavy bread back to his town, and sold it with a passion that was contagious. After 2 months of this hard work, he had saved enough money to buy a small cart. This made it much easier to transport more bread. One day, a regular customer gave him an idea. "Leo," she said, "you are so good at selling, but why don't you bake your own bread? If you learn to bake, you will make a much bigger profit." This idea excited Leo, but it also scared him. He had never baked anything in his entire life. This was a big moment for him. He realized again that nothing is free. Not success, not knowledge, not growth. If he wanted to succeed, he knew he had to take risks and learn new things. Leo couldn't stop thinking about the idea of baking his own bread. If he could learn to bake, he wouldn't have to depend on Mr. Anderson, and his profits could grow much faster. But there was that one big problem: he didn't know how. He decided there was only one person to ask. The next morning, after delivering his payment, Leo took a deep breath. "Mr. Anderson," he began, his voice a little nervous, "can you teach me how to bake?" The old man frowned, his brow wrinkling. "Why should I teach you? If you learn to bake, you won't need to buy from me anymore. That is bad for my business." Leo looked him in the eye and said, "You're right, sir. But I will never forget the man who gave me my first chance. If I succeed, I will make sure to help your bakery too. I promise." Mr. Anderson thought for a moment, stroking his chin. Then he sighed. "Fine," he said. "But baking is not easy. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a lot of hard work. If you are truly ready for that, I will teach you." The lessons began early the very next morning. Leo arrived at the bakery at 3:00 a.m., long before the sun was up. The air was cool and smelled of yeast and flour. Mr. Anderson showed him how to mix the flour and water, how to knead the dough with strong hands, and how to bake it in the hot oven until it was perfect. At first, Leo struggled a lot. His hands and back hurt from kneading the heavy, sticky dough. His first loaves of bread came out too hard, like rocks, or too soft and doughy inside. One day, after ruining another whole batch of bread, Leo sat down, feeling completely defeated. He put his head in his hands. "Maybe I'm not good enough for this," he whispered to the empty room. "Maybe I should just give up." But then he remembered his father's words, spoken on that cold evening. Dreams are not free. He realized that every mistake was not a failure. Every mistake was teaching him something new. Giving up was simply not an option. The next day, Leo went back to the bakery with even more determination burning inside him. He practiced every single step, carefully, slowly paying attention to every detail. And slowly, his bread started to improve. After 2 weeks of this intense practice, Mr. Anderson picked up a loaf that Leo had just baked. He looked at it, smelled it, and then broke off a piece. He tasted it slowly. A small, rare smile appeared on his face. "This is perfect, Leo," he said. "You're ready." Leo was overjoyed. He felt a huge wave of pride and gratitude. He rented a small used oven and began baking bread in his own home. His family was amazed by his incredible hard work. Sophie, his little sister, loved to help him pack the warm bread into bags. His mother Claire would make him hot tea while he worked late into the night. Soon, Leo wasn't just selling simple bread. He started making sweet cookies and delicious pastries too. The people in his town absolutely loved his products. They would say, "Leo's bread tastes better than anything we've ever had before." But success was not a straight line. One day, a new bakery opened in the town. It was run by a young man named Eric. Eric had a big fancy shop with colorful signs and beautiful decorations. People in the town were curious, and they started buying from him instead. Leo watched as his own sales started dropping. He felt that old familiar fear creeping back. What if he lost everything he had worked so hard for? But instead of panicking, Leo decided to improve. He didn't complain. He went out and talked to his customers. He asked them, "What did you like about Eric's bakery? What can I do to be better?" Some people said Eric's shop looked so clean and pretty. Others said his cakes had beautiful creative designs. Leo realized he needed to grow not just as a baker, but as a businessman. Using the savings he had carefully put away, he painted his little cart a bright, cheerful color. He added his own decorations and started offering free samples of his new pastries. He even went to the library and used the books there to learn how to decorate cakes. Slowly but surely, his customers started to return. One evening, an elderly woman came to Leo's cart. She smiled a warm, kind smile and said, "I have seen many young men give up when times get hard. But you didn't. You worked harder. That's why we trust you, Leo." Her words filled him with a deep sense of pride. Months passed and Leo's small business continued to grow. He saved enough money to finally rent a small shop. It wasn't as big as Eric's fancy bakery, but it was warm and welcoming. He stood proudly outside and hung a sign he had painted himself. It said, "Leo's Fresh Bakes." Every single morning, he woke up before sunrise to bake fresh bread cakes and pastries. He would open his shop with a big smile ready to greet his customers. His parents and sister helped him now. Sophie, who was now 11, loved talking to the customers and his mother. Claire helped manage the accounts, but Leo knew this was not the end of his journey. He wanted to reach more people, make his family even more proud, and prove to himself that anything is possible with hard work. Leo's Fresh Bakes was becoming the heart of the town. People loved his delicious food, but they also loved his story. Life, however, was not done testing Leo. One stormy night, as Leo was closing his shop, he noticed a strange smell: smoke. He rushed back inside and saw that a small fire had started near the oven. He acted quickly, grabbing buckets of water to stop the flames, but it was too late. Much of his precious equipment was badly damaged. The next morning, when the people of the town heard about the fire, they came to see what had happened. Some said, "Oh no, what will poor Leo do now?" Others whispered, "Maybe this is the end for his bakery." Leo felt heartbroken. He looked at the blackened walls of his shop, his dream, and felt a wave of despair. But he was not defeated. He stood outside his bakery and said to everyone who was watching, "This is just another challenge. I have faced struggles before, and I will face this one too. I will not give up." He took a deep breath and started to make a plan. He calculated how much money he had saved, and he realized it was not enough to replace all the damaged equipment. For a moment, fear crept back into his heart. But then Leo remembered his journey. He remembered how he had started with absolutely nothing but a dream and a willingness to work hard. Instead of sitting and worrying, Leo asked for help. He went to find Mr. Anderson, who was now retired. "Sir," Leo said, "I need your advice. What would you do if you were me?" Mr. Anderson looked at the young man he had come to admire. He smiled a gentle smile and said, "Leo, you already know the answer. You have taught yourself that nothing is free. Work harder. Believe in yourself, and people will believe in you too. Inspired, Leo decided to rebuild. He didn't wait for someone to rescue him. He started baking at home again using the little equipment he had left. He told his customers, "I won't let you down. I will keep serving you, even if it's just a small amount for now." The people of the town admired his incredible courage. They saw him working covered in soot trying to rebuild. And because he helped himself first, they wanted to help him. Many of them started helping. Some donated ingredients, others gave small amounts of money, and a few good friends offered their time to help him clean and repair the bakery. Leo realized something very important: when you work hard and never give up, people notice. They want to help someone who is helping themselves. After months of intense work, Leo reopened his bakery. It was even better than before. He had painted the walls bright colors, added new decorations, and even introduced new items like cupcakes and muffins. His customers were overjoyed. On the day of the grand reopening, the town's mayor came. He stood beside Leo and said, "Leo, you are a true inspiration to all of us. You have shown everyone in this town that with determination, anything is possible." Leo stood in front of the happy crowd, his heart full. He said, "I want to thank each and every one of you. You have all taught me that nothing in life is free. Not success, not respect, and not love. Everything must be earned with hard work, with patience, and with persistence. Never let failure stop you. Every challenge is just a step to something greater." From that day on, Leo's bakery didn't just sell bread. It became a symbol of hope in the town. People from other towns started visiting just to meet the young man who never, ever gave up. Leo's story teaches us a few very important things. First, that dreams are not free. They require hard work and sacrifice. Second, that failure is not the end. It is a chance to learn and grow stronger. Third, you must help yourself first. When people see your effort, they will support you. And finally, never give up. The darkest moments are often just before the sun rises. Leo didn't just build a bakery. He built a life full of purpose, respect, and pride. And so can you. Whatever your dream is, don't stop chasing it. Remember, nothing is free, but everything is possible. Thank you for listening.